Seattle Underground is a fascinating network of galleries below Pioneer Square, the neighborhood in Seattle, Washington, which is now home to one of the city's main tourist attractions. An original business district that was consumed by a fire, it underwent a series of urban transformations that created an underground world prone to illegal activities. In the mid-19th century, Seattle Underground did not exist yet, and it was at ground level. But when the streets were elevated after the Great Fire of June 6, 1889, which practically destroyed the neighborhood, 66 entire blocks, a new area was created. Pioneer Square and the neighboring streets were raised approximately 3.7 meters, in some places, twice this amount, with the aim of preventing the frequent flooding in the area. At that time, the methodology was to fight against water instead of coexisting with it. Essentially, the entire first floor of the buildings that were still standing disappeared. The works in the streets consisted of constructing archways in the street with vault lighting, together with new lateral walls that often concealed most of the facades of the buildings, which were often businesses. Meanwhile, owners whose businesses had been lost in the fire began to construct buildings, this time using brick. This was not achieved in one go, it took years. Enough time for the new buildings to replace those that were burned in the square.
Want some metal? Mattress. Stuff. Yeah. Right box cleaning. Watch your step.
The owners of these stores saw how the works were progressing, and they knew that the entrance to their stores, which were now at ground level, would soon be below earth. But when the new ground was finally installed, there were many stores whose accesses had not changed to the upper floor. The now narrow underground streets were accessed by ladders or staircases in stores in the area. This was how Seattle Underground was created. And there were more problems for Pioneer Square.
Okay, so the next part of my story starts about 7 hours later. It's 10 in the morning after the fire, and everybody in town gathers up on the hill at one of the mansions up there, and they have a town meeting to talk about how they want to do. And beginning of the meeting, they get some basic things out of the way. Like, no more wooden buildings. We should build everything out of brick, stone, or metal, something like that. And maybe we should put in seawalls so that all of our streets stop flooding every day. And then they get to the part of the meeting where they're talking about the master plan, kind of the big picture, how we can actually build the city, put it together, and make it function better than the last time we built it. City planners stand up and they've already been told about, which is to knock down the streets. We already have pretty new buildings there. What we didn't have at that moment was any more money. We ran out of money to put in new sidewalks. And so for nearly 5 years,
For more than 1 decade, underground Seattle became the ideal refuge for all types of people, particularly the homeless, who would take shelter underground during the winter months to avoid freezing to death. But Seattle's underground also saw the emergence of illegal businesses, including shelters that scammed homeless people, clandestine bars, before the Prohibition law, thus avoiding paying taxes or fees, and undeclared opium smoking dens. Opium reached a critical point between 1890 and 1906, when Roosevelt signed the Pure Food and Drug Act. Unfortunately for Seattle and Pioneer Square, these dates coincided with the existence of Seattle Underground.
Yes, I do. Oh, that's one of the tubes. That's one of the pipes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the original pipes. Yeah. In the glass.
Bathtub. Bathtub. That looks like a noose, doesn't it? It's not really. Yeah. Yeah, there's some stairs back in there. That's kind of cool. Big gigantic tanks of stuff. More metal. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I got it. Yeah, typewriter.
In 1907, the city council had to close off all known entries, given the fear of the bubonic plague extending as a result of overcrowding among drug addicts and homeless people. They feared that the Universal Exposition of 1909 would lead to a pandemic. Paradoxically, 700 people died in 1918 as a result of the influenza pandemic.
Lights everything in the shop on fire. All the cabinets catch on fire, all of the sawdust on the floor catches on fire, and of course, all of the rags soaking in turpentine catch on fire. The only thing that doesn't catch on fire are the POs of whiskey that had been delivered to the warehouse down the street earlier that morning. I do like to take a moment on all of my tours to mourn the departed spirits. Good. Yesterday's group didn't get that one. Okay, so let's review. Fire is now armed and drunk. It is spreading quickly through downtown. And about this point, the fire department shows up. They pull up, they grab a hose off the truck, plug it in, point it at the fire. It's wooden buildings on fire now, so it starts to put the fire out. They grab a second hose off the truck. They grab a third hose off the truck. And when they plug in the third hose, something really weird happens. All of the water pressure disappears. Anybody want to guess what we built our water pipes out of? Yup! Our water pipes were trees with holes drilled through them. Very likely, one of those had burnt through. It was spilling out into the street, making the oatmeal soup here.
During the 1950s, the Seattle resident and conservationist William Bill Spidell campaigned to preserve the neighborhood. In 1965, he opened the Underground Tour as a result of that campaign, and in 1968, he published the short book Seattle Underground, with interesting facts about the subsoil. Today, tourists can visit Seattle Underground, descending into the depths. Some galleries are located 10 meters below street level, to observe, to a certain degree, what life was like in Seattle at the end of 1890. Thank you for watching. What are your thoughts on Seattle's underground city? Have you been on the tour? Please like the video and of course subscribe.